Well, welcome back to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse Halloween Extravaganza. And actually, I'm going to give you 3 for the price of 1 today, because we go back to 1940 with a Boris Karloff film, The Ape. It was the last film he did for Monogram as he contracted out for 6 pictures. This one is kind of, I don't know, it's out there a little bit. Boris is a small-town doctor, Dr. Adrien, who is somehow not liked by the townspeople for some reason. And it opens up with a bunch of kids basically throwing rocks at his house and rocks through his window. Then he grabs one of the kids and shakes him. His whole thing is he's caring for this woman who's in a wheelchair who can't walk. I'm thinking polio. Maybe. I don't know. But they never really say it. But anyway, the whole thing shifts that there's a circus, and Dr. Adrien thinks that her fiance should take her to the circus. So they load her up in a truck with her wheelchair, and they go to the circus. But at the circus, there's something going on with this trainer and a gorilla, or an ape or whatever. And it seems that the trainer's father was killed by the gorilla because he tormented it, so he's doing it anyway. So what happens is he gets too close to the cage, the ape grabs him, mauls him, and knocks some lamp over where a fire breaks out and half the circus burns down. Of course, the ape escapes. The injured trainer is brought to Dr. Adrien's house, where Dr. Adrien checks him out and decides he's not going to live, and let me see if I can take out his spinal fluid, because it seems that spinal fluid might cure this young lady and let her walk. So anyway, that's what he does. Well, the gorilla is roaming around and happens to go by the doctor's house and sees the trainer's jacket laying on a chair through the window, and smashes through the window and goes after Dr. Adrien, who throws some vicious liquid in its eyes and then stabs him with one shot in the back and kills him. But now he needs more spinal fluid, so the ape is still at large, obviously, and it kills one of the town scumbags that doesn't care about anybody and just out to be making money, and is also cheating on his wife, and is caught, and he tells his wife, well, where are you going to go? This is 40s, okay, a 40 film. So anyway, this guy is attacked by the ape and killed, and the cops are out looking for the ape, and one of the cops runs into the ape, and there's a fight, and he stabs the ape. The ape staggers back to the doctor's house, and the woman in the wheelchair thinks that the ape is going to attack the doctor. Now the cops surround the ape and shoot him. Well, the ape is none other than Dr. Adrien, because obviously he skinned the ape and made a suit out of it. And he tells the girl, walk toward me, and she gets out of her wheelchair and walks toward her. And that's the last thing Dr. Adrien sees before he dies. Okay, well, it ran a scant 61 minutes, so it was easy to slap on a double feature. So, the whole thing with apes and gorillas was, going back to the roadshow days of the 30s and stuff, these were considered real monsters, and they actually existed, but, nobody had ever shot a movie about them. So there was a lot of ape movies back in the 30s and, early 40s like this one. So why not go 2 years later down the road to 1943 with The Ape Man, starring an obviously down-and-out Bela Lugosi. And this is weird. When I first saw this movie, for some reason Lugosi reminded me of a weird, sort of bent-over Abraham Lincoln, because he's got this weird, the beard, the ape face and shit like that. The backstory is Bela, as Dr. whatever the hell his name was doing Dexter or something, maybe? I don't know. It was a normal name. But anyway, he was doing experiments with his pet gorilla and turned himself into a half ape, half man. And his sister finds him sleeping in the cage with the ape. He knows he can get better if he gets spinal fluid. I guess spinal fluid cures everything. That's why there's so many diseases, because spinal fluid is so hard to get. A fellow doctor is approached, and basically he tells him that, no, what you want me to do is commit murder, and I won't commit murder. But anyway, somebody gets killed, and he takes the spinal fluid out and has the doctor inject him with it, which makes him stand upright, but he needs more. So him and his pet ape go on a killing spree for spinal fluid and stuff like that until they battle that at the end, and eventually the ape kills the ape man. Lugosi's completely manic in this, and it's really a weird film. And the weirdest part was, I think it was one of the only monogram films that was thrown into the Chiller Theater mix, because you know how they had that montage in the beginning of all clips from the films, and there was always Lugosi and the ape strangling each other. That's the only one I've ever seen. You know, it was on Chiller. I don't think any other monogram stuff wound up on Chiller in that package. But hey, when you got something good going, why not make a sequel? Matter of fact, why not make a sequel that makes absolutely no fucking sense with the original? So they came up in 1944 with Return of the Ape Man, with Bela Lugosi as your resident mad scientist, John Carradine as the good scientist, and George Zucco was cast as the Ape Man, but got sick and was replaced by ex-boxer Frank Moran. According contractually, George Zucco was still third billed, because that was in his contract. And in some stills and lobbies, he's actually the Ape Man, but he got sick and couldn't do it. So Frank Moran is pretty beat up. He's got, his nose is spread all over his face. He's got cauliflower ears. He was obviously taking a lot of hits. He started fighting. He was actually fought for the world title in 1915. Guy was originally from Cleveland and died from a heart attack and made it to 80. But anyway, he's a frozen caveman in a block of ice that is thawed out and kills a cop. So the Bela Lugosi mad doctor feels that we should put a new brain in him, and he's going toward a good scientist, John Carradine's girlfriend or daughter or something like that. But then he actually kills John Carradine and transplants his brain, and the whole thing goes on a rampage. Sometimes the ape man is civil and can play a piano. Other times he's carrying a girl out the window. And in some scenes, I remember when I was a kid, you could see boxer shorts under the caveman garb. So, of course, the ape man kills the evil Dr. Lugosi and is gunned down by the cops, and there's a fire and stuff, and it's over. Actually, Return of the Ape Man was put on a Blu-ray, and it really doesn't look too much better than an old VHS tape, unfortunately. All these films are probably in the public domain at this point, and I guess oldies.com, Alpha Oldies or whatever, has the ape and the Return of the Ape Man. Prints are not really that good, but that's par for the course. So, here's three films, that starred the icons of horror in these low-budget crap fests that, we still sort of enjoy because they have this, nostalgic tint to them. We all saw the stuff growing up as kids. So there's three films. It should be a triple feature, and Monogram morphed into Allied Artists, and Allied Artists morphed into United Artists, and then was absorbed by MGM. So a Poverty Row, B film company sort of stayed around for quite a long time. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow with more Monster Mayhem.